morning everyone. Today I would like to show you all how to mounting on articulator. So everyone, please take out your hands-on book, page 15. Please refer to the details here. So I will follow step by step here. So first, we have to check our articulator, make sure it's working properly. So here, this is our articulator cable 3. So make sure all the components on the articulator at the right positions. So everyone, please refer to your page 17, figure 15. So here, where is the incisor pin? So this is our incisor pin, and then we have to set our incisor pin at 0. So I unlock first. So here, everyone, can you see here there is a line, it's the longest line here. This is the 0 tube here. So we have to make sure our articulator incisor pin, we lock it on this line. Okay, we lock it, and then we have to check. This is our incisor table. We have to check because some of them maybe never locked properly. We have to check, make sure it's locked properly. And then here, so we have to check here also. Here you can unlock, you just push it, and then to unlock, we can check our working balance. So we have to, we will use it after resetting. When resetting, we will use it to make sure to do the working balance here. So if right now mounting, we have to lock it, make sure it's locked to prevent any moving when we mounting. Okay. Okay, one more thing here. This is our occlusal table. Okay, we used to mount our upper models. Okay, this is our mounting plate. So can you see there is an arrow here? So make sure the arrow is facing to our incisor rod. Every time, make a note here. Every time, make sure the arrow will facing up, because a lot of your senior did the mistake here. And then make sure it's locked properly. For the lower, it's same. So make sure the arrow is facing up and lock it. Okay. After we check our articulator, we have to start now. So for the mounting here, we are using the split cast technique. So we will make sure to place back at the same position after we flasking. So the split cast technique, we will put some 3 notch here to lock it to more to make sure it's more retention. So later on, I will teach you how to do it. So before we start everything, we have to make sure, because I see a lot of students, there is a lot of wax here around the model. So make sure the wax your model under the hot water. Okay, if there is any wax here, will make your mounting is not stable, we will come up, your mounting will come up. So this must be pay attention to this. So we have to use our bite here. So we fix back to our upper model. First, we will mount our upper model first. After that, only our lower model. So we place back. Make sure. Okay, one more thing here. So make sure your bite, your base plate, the fitting area, there is no wax here. Make sure no wax here. You can use your electron to remove it. Okay. After that, we only place, make sure it sits properly, and then okay, for this part here, we have to draw a line. Can you see your midline is here? We have to follow our midline. We use our ruler to draw a line here. To follow our midline, draw a line on our model. Draw a straight line, and okay, for the anterior here, we follow our midline, and then we take out our bite, and then we draw a line, straight line here. We follow incisor, papilla, and then to the palatal fovea. In the middle of the line, we draw a line here. draw a line here. Okay, continues to our side base. We draw a line here. Okay, and then we turn to our model base. We join these two lines here. And you see these two lines, we join it using our rulers. So why we mark this line? We just to easy you all to make sure is when we mount it on the middle of the articulator, so we won't walk anything. So after we draw, we can trim our index. So everyone, please turn to the page 60, figure 14. Can you see? There is the first image. There is 4 V-shaped notch here. So there is a correction here. We not do 4 V-shape. We correct to the 3 V-shape. We change to the 3 V-shape. 3 V-shape, and then will be like this. Can you see? So we cancel these two, and then we make it on the middle. 3 enough. Okay. So before we trim, if you're not sure, you can draw the V shape to prevent the over trim. And then the depth of the V shape is 6 millimeters. So we draw the V shape first. Side here, we draw a V shape. And then in the middle. So okay. So we start trim. We are using our pink stone to trim our models. So we trim follow the line we draw, and then you hold your handpiece like this. And then I realize some of the students hold the handpiece like this. Please don't, because it's very dangerous here. Because if we cannot, we're just using the few fingers to hold it. So make sure you hold your handpiece like this. Okay? Okay, we start trim now. Follow the line we draw, and then make sure there is no undercut. Something like this. Okay? And make sure there is 6 mm deep. And then make sure here. Because I realize some of the students, the base is not properly, never follow the theory. So there is something like thin a bit. So make sure, we have to make sure the thickness here. Don't too thin. Later your model will be pecah. Okay? Okay. Same goes to the lower models. We turn to the model base. We draw 3 lines, 3 notch here. Okay, and then we do the same thing. We using our pink stone to trim it. Okay, next we will going to seal our bite rim to our models. So there is 2 techniques here. You can use either moldering wax or sticky wax. If you are using the sticky wax, make sure you soak your model first under the water for a few minutes. If you we are more prefer you using the moldering wax and then without soaping. Okay, so we are seal it now. I'm using the moldering wax. It's more easy because later on you more easy to take out, remove from your models. Okay, so using your wax knife to pick up your wax knife. Around the circles. make sure the model is really fit properly on the models. Make sure there is no anything to come. Make sure seal around the sulcus area, seal around here, to make sure later on we mounting, we won't masuk any plaster, POP, anything masuk inside our cast. So make sure seal properly, seal around here. Can you see? Seal, make sure it's sealed properly. Okay, sama juga dengan lower models, we will seal it around the sulcus before we proceed. Okay, same dengan upper models. Okay. Come back to our upper models after we seal the lower models. So after we seal, we have to place it on our occlusal table. So here is our occlusal table. Okay, we will place it, follow the line we draw. Okay, first we will place it. Can you see? Okay, can you see there is 3 lines here? We follow the first outer line here, the first line. So our midline will sit on this line. This line is considered midline. Okay, we sit here and then we put our butt rim, have to balance it. Make sure the butt rim is balance it, both follow the line. So I show you how to place it. First, we place our occlusal atas kita punya occlusal table. We follow the first line here, the outline, the first outline. So we follow, and then our midline will be follow the line here, the middle line here. Here is the occlusal table midline. We follow it, we place it. Okay. And then we have to balance to the both side here. So we have to balance. If the left hand side on the second line, so here will be the second line. Okay. So we just balance it. Okay. Okay. After that, we have to check the behind line. The back line. Okay, can you see? So make sure the line we draw here will be follow the line. There is a lubang here. Can you see? So we will be straight to the line here. Okay. After we make sure our position is correct, so we have to seal it with our sticky wax. We seal around the back, and there's one thing we have to pay attention. Make sure jangan ganggu, jangan rosakkan kita punya notch here. So nanti kita tak dapat balik dia punya position. Okay, now we are going to mount it. So before we mount, we make sure our midline and then both sides is balanced, and then make sure the occlusal rib is really sit on the occlusal table. So if everything get ready, we have to start now. So we are using the cellophane tape to put on our mounting plate. So to more easy us to after that to demount. Okay, we place it to cover the hole here. Okay. Before we start to put POP, we have to put the separating medium. We are using either Vaseline or Comosil. This one is Comosil. It's a separating agent for the denture base. Okay, so we just put a very thin layer. Make sure don't put too much. Just a very thin layer. We're using our brush. We put a little bit here. Okay, and apply. Just a very thin layer. Okay. Okay, that's all. Okay, now we have to mix the POP. Sure is mixed properly. Then we're going to put our PLP on top. We just put and then we just close it, see whether enough or not. Okay, we just close. Okay, so everyone please take attention here. Make sure the incisor rod should be sit on the incisor table. Make sure it sit properly, jangan terangkat langsung. Okay? Can you see after we close there is the excess here, so we will going to use our wax knife or electron to remove it. Okay, so when we remove, please don't bergerak kita punya articulator. Make sure jangan open, make sure it sit properly, and then make sure we just remove on it. Jangan pusing-pusing. Ada banyak student mereka pandai-pandai pusing-pusing. Okay, make sure jangan pusing. We just leave it and then we just only can use our wax knife. Okay, we just remove excess and then make sure any short like short part we can add on little bit more. We can add on it and then make sure it's sealed. Make sure it's lekat betul-betul. And we remove all the excess. We remove all the excess. Actually, you no need to remove like properly follow the line. You can leave some excess part. Later on, you can trim. Okay, you can trim. You can using your sandpaper to smoothen it. Okay, we remove it and then we just roughly remove and then make sure don't move your articulator. Okay, after we remove all the excess part, we just leave it and then for the extension of the POP. We will extend extra skate of the model. We will like half of the model or 2/3 of the model. Here is the model. We just imagine here is the model. We will extend extra little bit, extra half or 1/3. You can extend until here. Also never mind. Why we have to extend more to the to our model? Because we want to create some more retention to pegang our model to prevent kita punya mounting jatuh. Once we done trim all the excess, so we just leave our mounting here and then wait for the POP set. Okay, one is set, so we will remove our occlusal rim from the occlusal table. We use our wax knife to take out. Okay, take out and we turn our articulator upside down. We remove our occlusal table. Before we fix our Romo model, we have to put our mounting plate here. So make sure the arrow here, I told you before, the arrow have to facing to our occlusal, to our incisor rod. So we have to follow our notch here to fix our. We have to put back the same notch to lock it. Only we seal our upper, lower models. Okay, so we just fix it. Make sure there is no anything. Okay, here, can you see here? There is a big gap here. Why got gap? We miss out something. We have to remove our excess here. Remove our sticky wax here. Only we fix. Remove all the excess. Remove all the excess, we fix again. Okay. So please check the pipe. Okay. So once we confirm our bite is correct, we seal it. So now we are going to use our sticky wax to seal our upper lower bite. Heat up your wax knife. Some sticky wax and we seal it. We just add on in between. Okay. Just add on in between. Seal all around. Okay. So before we start mounting our lower models, we have to check our articulator here. Okay, everyone, can you see there is few rubber here around the articulator. The rubber here on top, upper and lower. This rubber is for stabilize our articulator to prevent moving and then to make sure it's parallel our models. Okay, same goes to the lower models. We have to apply a very thin layer seal on the denture, on our model base. We apply very thin layer, just very thin layer around it to as a separating medium. Okay, just a little bit. Okay. For the ratio of POP, we are going to use 100 gram POP to 45 ml liquid. Same dengan kita punya upper model. Okay. So we just put our articulator facing like this position to stable it. Okay, before we put our POP, make sure don't forget to put a cellophane tape here. We put on our middle of the mounting plate to cover the hole. Okay. After that, we mix our POP. So make sure you mix your POP properly. Mix it even. Make sure the ratio is follow our requirement. Okay, now we start. Put our POP on top here. Little bit. Just close from the base. Close it slowly and check. Make sure it sits properly. Okay, same to the upper model. We remove all the excess, but make sure when you remove the excess, make sure you won't moving your articulator. Just leave it on the same position. So you just can remove using your wax knife. Remove slowly. Okay, remove all the excess. Okay, can you see here? There's a little bit lubang here. Never mind, you just add it. If you tak sempat to add it, never mind, it's okay. So you just leave it. Later on, I will show you how to add on all the lubang-lubang to fill up all the lubang-lubang. So right now you just remove just roughly remove the excess part. That's all. Okay, so we just roughly, you look like a bigasa here is okay, never mind. So make sure you don't move your articulator, don't turn your articulator, pusing pun tak boleh. Just leave it on the same position like this. Just leave it until it's set. Okay. Once the POP is set, make sure it's set. Use your electron to check it. There is no any scratch mark. That means it's set. Okay. So we can remove all. You just leave it around 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. After 10 to 15 minutes, we confirm it's set, and then we remove the bite. We remove the upper and lower. Just roughly. Okay. Slowly remove. Okay. So we remove. And now once it's set, now we only can take out and remove from the articulator. Okay. Okay, everyone, can you see here? Okay, there is some gap here. Okay, it's okay, never mind. We can add on now. Okay, so we just make some POP. We make some POP. Make sure don't mix too much, just a little bit. If not enough, you only add on. Okay, so we just roughly make, and then we can add now. So we just touch up it. You just add on, make it nicer. Okay, for the extension for our to our POP, we already mentioned to the upper models, we have to cover at least half of our models. But it's okay, never mind. When we mounting time, maybe we tak sempat, we not enough time, it's okay. We just leave it. Once it's set, we can add on. So we are going to add on half of the model for more retention. Make sure you add on later on. It's okay. So right now, we can add on with our POP. Just add a little bit here to cover it. Cover at least half of the model. When you adding time, make sure your POP tak kena our mounting plate here. Make sure tak ada POP ke sini. Okay? If there is a POP here, later on you mount back, will be like later on you fix back to the articulator. There is a high bite here, so your bite will not accurate. Please pay attention to this. No POP on this area. Okay. Once we done adding our POP to cover area, everything is okay. So we get ready one bowl of water, okay, for sandpaper purpose. So we using one keping sandpaper here, okay, for one models, okay. So we pasangkan our sandpaper, or we using our water. Using your sandpaper with your with water, because a lot of students when doing the study model time, they just use sandpaper only. So you better use it with the water. It's more smooth. Okay. So just sand it. To make sure it's smooth. All around, make sure it's smooth. Okay. Okay. Make sure it's sand until smooth. If you can make it shining like this, better. Okay. All around, and then make sure, can you see the line is cover half of the models, at least half of the model. If you cover extra little bit more, should be okay, but at least half of the models. and then make sure here nothing. Okay, before you fix your mounting, your model pad, make sure your articulator is clean, because when you're mounting, there is a lot of POP sticky here. Make sure clean it up before you fix back your models. Okay, after you clean, we just fix back, follow, upper and lower, and we check back our bite. Okay, make sure when you fix back, there is no high bite, there is no gap here. Okay, make sure the incisor rod is sit properly on our incisor taper. Okay, so there is a sample here. Make sure you sandpaper like this. So make sure you clean your articulator properly before show to the technician for marking. And the back part, make sure it's clean. Okay.